Hey team, I'm Gina Doyle. I'm a senior product designer for Runner Fleet, and today I wanted to share the exploration that we've been doing around a Runner Fleet dashboard. To give you some context around what the problem is currently, as a platform engineer of a GitLab instance, it's difficult to get an at-a-glance view of your fleet of runners, including how they're performing, what the issues are, if there are any, and a breakdown of statistics of the fleet in general. What we have today is this, we're looking in the admin area right now. So we have this runners page where you have a list of all of the runners that you have, instance, group, or project type, and kind of a breakdown of the statuses. What we've just added recently is another item here around mean waiting time for instance runners. One of the problems that we've been facing recently are performance issues on this page. When we added the mean waiting time component here, we actually had to have you open it up in a modal so that it was able to load, not just when this page loads. So not only are we dealing with performance issues at this point, also this page isn't really scalable. There's really not that much more room to put other items here. And going back to the problem, even if you come to this page, there's not enough data for the platform engineer to know, are there issues going on? We don't show failures unless you were to actually dig into a runner and look at their jobs. And we also just don't have enough performance indications on this page for them to get an idea of how their runners are performing. So one of the things that the team wanted to do at first is update the navigation to include this new dashboard and different ways to get to different things for runners. Luckily, the foundations team had already included guidance around navigation updates, and Austin had presented at the UX showcase. So I felt confident kind of shutting that idea down and saying that we should explore other solutions first, which then led us to this dashboard idea. To give you a look at what that would look like, we would really just be replacing the current landing page for the runner's nav item with this new dashboard. And we'd still allow users to get to see all their runners like they do today. So they could still get to this view minus the stats here. But they would have to do that by drilling down. So they'd be able to go view all runners, and then we'd use breadcrumbs there to indicate where they are. And in this dashboard view, the goal is to really be able to give them that at a glance view and highlight any problems that are going on. So you can see in this larger panel over here, I talk about health status, and that's if there's unhealthy runners, it means that there's been runner failures in, I say, the last hour, but we might need to change that depending on what validation I get. Unhealthy runners, none of this UI text has been looked at, just a side note, but unhealthy runners are really important to note because this means that they're not running as expected and code isn't going out. So the admin would need to fix these. What we can do right now is when a runner failure happens, which is not the same thing as a job failure, a runner failure is separate. So a job could fail because of other reasons, but it might not be because a runner has a problem. So we would pull in the failure message and then link to the job so that you could look at the job log, which spits out some important details about runners. And then the other thing that admins can do is also look at their runner logs. Those aren't in GitLab UI, so they'd have to look at that locally. The other thing that I have here, which I'm almost using these as tabs, which is probably not the right use, but I wanted to show this concept of how busy your runners are. We know the concurrency that each runner has set. If you just create a runner in the UI, concurrency is automatically set to 1. It's always the standard. So it can run one job at once. But you could set it to something larger, like 10. So that means that it can run 10 jobs at once. So I wanted to list out the busiest runners so that admins get an idea of which ones are like taking up all of the capacity that they have, and then maybe they have to look at their machine size and like tweak some machine related, like CPU related metrics on that side. We don't have access to that right now, but we could get concurrency at the least because that's added to the configuration file for runners. And then one other thing that I linked to here is to view the jobs, which is something that we already do in the admin area today. Let me just go to an online runner. So we'd show like this list of jobs, which is important because you could also look at the queue time. And if that's getting longer, then maybe you need to create another runner with the same configuration. But in this case, like all these would be running. That's what you would see here. So the other panels here, one of them is estimated wait time, which is a feature that a lot of customers have asked for lately. And we've added the first shot of this to this page actually, but we want to keep extending that. And we haven't had the chance to because of the whole performance issue that we're having, and because the way that you can store all of that in the back end, we don't have 100% down right now. So this is shown like over a 3-hour period of time, and we might not be able to do that right now because we don't have storage on the back end, but there's a working group that's exploring that. So anyways, the estimated wait time would actually give them more of an idea of performance, and we could show percentiles, which we've already calculated through a query, and then how the mean waiting time is trending over time. So this has been going up by 3% in the last 3 days, which is bad because you want it to be as low as possible. In this case, the reason why I'm showing busy runners by itself over the left and then this over to the right is because we can only show estimated waited time per like a group of runners right now, versus the busiest runners over here to the left we could show at a singular level. So that gives them still like the opportunity to kind of go back and forth if they need to. The last thing I've tried to add here are events. We have some audit events that we get for runners already, but I was thinking that tracking these events would not only help for security and compliance, but also identify what the root cause of some problem was. So we could detect like when a runner goes offline versus online, and maybe like that was related to an upgrade that you made to the runner, stuff like that. Something that I'm exploring that I'd still want to validate. But as far as the research that we have so far, it all supports at least the health status card, the estimated wait time, and the fleet overview breakdown that we have up here. The events was something that I was toying around with to help them kind of get to that root cause again, because I know that that's like the ultimate thing is that they want to fix the runner. So that's what I've come up with so far. And I'd really, really love any feedback that you have on this design. I want to validate this with enterprise customers this milestone. So I appreciate it if you could get back to me within the week. So before the 25th, probably. And I'm really looking for like any feedback that you have. I have no scope as to what the feedback is. It's my first time creating a dashboard. So I would love, yeah, anything.